Hi everybody, this is Esther. I'm here to share an assignment on atomic structure and bonding. Okay, so what are ions? Here we're going to be looking at ions and the bonding, so ionic bonding and covalent bonds. First of all, I'm going to start with what are ions. Ions are particles which are electrically charged and formed when an atom gains or loses electrons. So we have ions formed when there is a positive charge, when there's some sort of charge next to that electron. So you possibly can see oxygen 2 minus, that's an ion. Oxygen by itself is a normal neutral atom, but when it has a minus sign or a plus sign next to it, it shows that the atom itself has either given out electron or has gained electron. Okay, an atom is stable when it's achieved a full outer shell, but can be very unstable and highly reactive when otherwise. For example, oxygen, as we've said, is known to be a highly reactive element which has 6 electrons in its outer shell. So the plan is to get to eight electrons on its outer shell to make sure that the atom itself is balanced. So when it's not reached that octet level or that stable level, it's likely to give out an atom, an electron, sorry guys, or receive electron. Okay, so this is a this is a form of ion. So and now this diagram shows a neutral atom. It doesn't have any charge or any minus or plus sign. So a positively charged atom is now a cation, and a negatively charged atom is an anion. So oxygen oxide is a negatively charged atom. An sorry, an oxide, right? An oxide ion is a negatively charged atom. So that is an anion. Okay. So that's a form of oxygen. So we know oxygen has 6 valence electrons on its outer shell, and then when it gets 2 electrons from another source, say for example from hydrogen, it gets 2 hydrogen electrons, it gets a minus sign next to it, which makes it an ion now. Okay, so now ionic bonding. What is ionic bonding? Ionic bonding is a type of chemical bond where an atom transfers an electron or electrons to another atom to form a bond or compound. So mostly a ionic bond is an electrostatic type of bond, which means it attracts each other. So positive charged electrons tend to attract negative charged electron. And we went in to look at sodium. Sodium, for example, has um, 11 electrons in total. So it has 1 electron that is missing on its valence shell. So sodium tends to give this out to elements like chlorine to form a sodium chloride bond, and this type of bond is an ionic bond. Okay, so this is a typical example of what I just said, chlorine and sodium. So this is a type of ionic bond. And then we'll look at covalent bond. What is a covalent bond? Covalent bond is a type of bond where electrons are not giving out but rather shared. So there are some electrons that are electronegative. Okay, so they are highly electronegative, which means they are seeking electrons. So because of this, they don't give out electron, they share it with each other. For example, oxygen is an electronegative type of element, and it does not give out its electron, it can share it, and it's a powerful example of a covalent bond, which we're going to look at in the next page. Covalent bonds has different formation. It can come in single bond, where single electron is shared between the two elements involved, the 2 atoms involved. Double bonds means like the element is looking for another bond, double electron, so they kind of bond each other and they share together. There's another one, triple bonds, and this is what it just means. Very simple. An element looking for 3 it meets another element looking for three and they shares their bonds. So that is just basically what it means. Apologies for my extract on the last slide. So this is an example of covalent bonds. Okay, we talked about hydrogen. Hydrogen has one single electron in its outer shell and is looking for one single electron to bond each other. So hydrogen what tends to bond together to be able to stable their, to stabilize its base to create a stability. So that is hydrogen. Now we have chlorine, which is also a single bond because it has one valence electron seeking to bond to complete its outermost shell. And then we have oxygen, which is double, is a type of double covalent bond because it has two electrons seek it has six electrons in its outer shell seeking two to complete. So it bonds with another oxygen to make it 8. And then we have nitrogen, which is triple. It has 3 and seeking for 3 to complete. So it tends to use 3. It has 5 seeking for 3 to complete. So it tends to use 3 of its electrons to bond with another nitrogen. Okay, so this is a type of covalent bond. And then last but not the least is coordinate covalent bonds. What does this mean? A coordinate covalent bond is a type of bond that shares its own valence electrons with the elements it bonds with. So it shares a coordinate covalent bond does not require electron from its subordinate or from the atom it's bonding with, but rather it gives out electrons to those atoms to complete their um, their valence shell. For example, hydrogen ion. Hydrogen ion it's an element that's giving out one of its electrons, so it's very unstable and needs two electrons to complete its outermost shell. So nitrogen in itself in ammonia tends to bond with this hydrogen ion to complete its outer shell and make it a stable atom. So what coordinate covalent bond is, and this is it for my assignment. So in conclusion, in conclusion, covalent bonds are shared, bonds where electrons are shared between each element, between two elements or more, whilst ionic bonding is more stable and it gives out its electron to another element to build a compound. So yes, that is my assignment. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope this was able to educate you on what on what atomic structure and bonding is. Thank you.